Harvester electrical equipment. The voltage of the onboard circuit is 24 volts. It is achieved by installing two rechargeable batteries of 12 volts each. And due to serial connection, the voltage of the onboard circuit is 24 volts. There is also a generator. When the engine is running, it supplies power to the onboard circuit and also charges batteries. When the engine is off, the power of both batteries is used. You may use the voltage of 20 volts on the harvester onboard circuit. For this purpose, a special 24 to 12 volts converter is installed. The startup system of the harvester is an electric starter one. Please observe the following safety measures when working with electrical equipment of the harvester. The most important thing is not to disconnect the batteries when the engine is working. In this case, when the batteries are disconnected, the impulses will come from the generator. Such negligence may lead to power surges that will damage the electrical equipment. Next, before welding, first remove plus terminal. The right thing to do would be to remove both terminals, plus and minus, then ply both terminals. Both batteries are disconnected. A really important thing here is to put the engine switch into on position. When it's switched off, the circuit is broken. But when the terminals are applied together and the switch is on, the circuit is closed and the harvester electronics is protected from impulses. This is extremely important when welding. Please remember that switching off the battery when the engine is working is strictly forbidden. There may be a situation when the batteries are low. The driver takes the charged ones from the colleague and installs on his combine, starts the engine, disconnects the batteries, and the engine runs without batteries. While the driver is replacing the batteries, the harvester electronics may be damaged. Another important moment when welding. Place the ground in the vicinity of the welding spot. Otherwise, the welding process will create impulses that will make a negative impact on the harvester electronics. The batteries are located on the right side of the harvester in the special battery box. As has been mentioned before, there are two of them. Below, under the lead, there is a power switch. It switches off the plus terminal. Some people call it a ground switch, but it would be wrong to call it this way. These days, the ground is screwed directly to the body of the harvester, and the plus terminal is disabled with a power switch. Under the battery box, there are three power fuses. 30 amperes is the power supply to the engine control unit. 80 amperes is the onboard circuit power supply. If one of the fuses blows, half of the combine is de-energized. If both of them blow, the whole combine is de-energized. From those fuses, the power comes via thick wires, which go into the external switch box on the right. Here you can see two power blocks. Each of them contain two fuses. The fuses on the top are 60 amperes. The ones at the bottom are 30 amperes. Above the power blocks, there are two conventional fuse boxes, FU7, FU6, where the fuses of consuming units are located. Vertically positioned fuses are the spare ones. You use them to change the blown fuses. Also, this box contains a pretty big amount of relays. It also contains various electrical wiring, harnesses, and connectors. Then there is a small cabin switch box. It is located on the right. If you open the right door, unscrew the iron shield, and dismantle it, you will see two small rolls of relays. Another fuse box is located in the cabin at the top. On the right you will also see the designations of the fuses. The designations of other fuses and relays can be found on the door of the switch box inside. It is prohibited to use the fuses with the value higher than installed here. If a 5 ampere fuse blows, it is prohibited to replace it with a 10 or 15 amperes fuse. Even worse solution would be to use copper wire coils or a coin or a paper clip instead. Monitoring and control system. It has a display, a control panel, and all the other electronic units installed on the machine. A display, a control panel, 2 chassis modules, and field copying system module. Also there is a joystick and a CAN bus, which controls the combine. Also we see the orange lines, which connect the electronics of the harvester with the electronic units of the engine. So the engine has 2 units of its own, produced by Mercedes. One of them is located on the engine, the other one is located in the cab. The units are interconnected with a CAN bus, and to control the engine and read its parameters, there is another bus between the chassis module and the engine control unit ADM2. The bus has got an additional connector. It is used for diagnostic equipment. Connect the diagnostic equipment here to check the engine's control units. Also, on the harvester bus and on the engine control bus, there are such devices as TS120 or terminal resistance 120 ohms. They're always located at the beginning and at the end of the bus. This enables a more stable work of the bus. If they're not installed, it may lead to glitches or malfunction. On the harvester bus, we can see only one terminal resistance, at the end of the bus. At the beginning of the bus, it is located inside the display. Both chassis modules are interchangeable. You can easily swap them. For example, if you have to perform diagnostics. If you suspect that one of the chassis modules is malfunctioning, you can swap them. This will help you find out whether it's the module that is malfunctioning or the problem is in the sensor, cables, or some other control unit. If the problem was in the chassis module, you can swap them, but do not swap back. The important thing is not to use the malfunctioning channel where chassis module 1 was installed in the place where chassis module 2 was installed. Otherwise, if the problem was in the chassis mode, it will be transferred from one place to another. This will lead to malfunctioning of some sensor or an electric magnet or some other device in another place. So you can check the circuit diagram to see if this contact is used in another place. Field copying system module is equipped with 2 connectors, for input bus and output bus. Another one is the 55-pin connector. All the other modules are equipped with 1 connector and they have parallel bus connection. It means here we have serial connection. If we break off the bus by screwing out 1 connector, 2 modules will become invisible. Thus the harvester will be not operational. The display is located inside the cab, on the front stand. The joystick and the control panel are located in the armrest. Under the cab, there is a field copying system unit. Here you can see the 2 round connectors of the CAN bus, and also the 55-pin connector for inputs, outputs, sensors, coils control, and so on. The first chassis module is located on the left wall of the grain tank. Below, we have got the left front wheel, and if you look up, you will see the chassis module. The second chassis module is located on the rear wall of the grain tank, on the side of the motor unit. Here we also see TS100, which is attached with a harness. ADM2 unit is located in the cab. If you open this door by unscrewing 2 bolts, you will see the engine control module and other electrical connectors, for example harnesses and inputs. Here, swivel lights relays can be found. For the purpose of making handouts, in this manual, you will see the fuses diagram. Here, you will find the designation of the fuses and switchboxes relays, which can be used for searching and eliminating failures. The differences of Torum 785. Engine start blocking. Instead of blocking the neutral gearbox stage, here, the engine start is blocked based on the neutral position of the joystick. If the joystick is not in the neutral position, the engine start is blocked. The second blocking type is similar to the one. The engine cannot be started repeatedly when it's already working. This prevents the starter breakdown when the engine is working. The lighting here is similar. Clearance lighting, indicators on the steering column, headlights on the front bumper and on the rear bumper are different. Then the transport lighting is switched on if the clearance lighting is on. The next button switches on the central working lights, and on this model there is a bigger quantity of the lights. Here you can see 8 working lights, external working lights, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. The rear working lights are used for lighting grain tank and chopping and spreading system. Chopping and spreading lights, grain tank lights, and unloading zone lights. Flash and beacons are identical here. You can switch the beacon on manually from the cabin using this button, and when the grain tank is 75% full, it is switched on automatically. One flashing beacon is located at the front of the harvester, and the other one is at the back. The air conditioning system here is a little bit different. It is actually a climate control type. We have 2 switches. The first one is for switching on the fan, and then choosing its modes. And on the right, there is a temperature selector. You set the desired temperature, and the climate system ensures that there is a temperature you selected inside the cab. And in the middle, there's an air conditioner control button. The temperature indicator is located behind the driver, near the ceiling. The control panel is similar. The display is identical as well, but it is located on the armrest. The joystick is similar, but here we see the panel with the gearbox ranges switch. The difference in the electric equipment is the following. The power fuses are located not under the battery box, but inside of it. 30 amperes and 2 of them 80 amperes. The same as on Torum 750 and 780. The external switch box is located in the same place. The internal distribution of the components and their location are different now. For example, we have got 4 such units. The values of each fuse are shown on a laminated sticker inside the switch box. 2 power fuses FU5 and FU6. One more fuses unit is located inside the cab. You can find it in the same place. Also, there is a laminated sticker with fuses designations. It also contains their nominal values. The monitoring and control system is the same. 2 units by Mercedes. similar chassis modules, field copying system, control panel, a joystick, and a display. All of them are similar. As has been mentioned before, the display is located on the armrest. The control panel and the joystick are also here. The field copying system is under the cab in the same place. The chassis module number 1 is also located on the front wall. The chassis module number 2 is also located on the rear wall of the grain tank, but at the top, not at the bottom, as on Torum 750 and 780. And for your convenience, in the handouts, you'll find the values and designations of the relays and fuses located in the external switch box. This modification has got additional relays located in the roof. To access them, you have to unscrew the panel with the fuses unit, and there you can find the relays. Additional options. Grain humidity evaluation system. This kit can be installed as an option after you buy the harvester. So there is a possibility not to order it directly from the plant. We can also call it the packaged option. The parts kitting contains the sensor, a cable, the sensor fitting and installation diagram, which is actually a sticker at the bottom of the feed auger, and so this is the place for fitting the sensor. In this spot, you cut a hole to place the sensor inside the grain tank. Install the sensor here and then calibrate and adjust it. The installation instructions manual can be found on a special dealer's portal, which each dealership member must have access to. As a result, on the display, you will see not only the humidity level of the grain, but also its temperature. Rethrashing evaluation system. Its installation manual is also found on the dealership portal. It is also a package solution, so it can be installed on a harvester after you buy it. It is installed here and has a form of optical sensors. In the picture you see special plugs in the places where the sensors are installed on both sides of the combine. Here you install the transmitter, the receiver, then the connector is attached to the standard harness of the harvester, which is hidden in this place. After switching it, you calibrate it in the settings of the system. You have to store the 0 value, which indicates the absence of grain in the rethrasher. This option also allows us to adjust the cleaning system of the combine more precisely. Based on the rethrasher load, you can identify on the display, you can see the third column, which is filled in the similar way as the columns showing losses. It is filled depending on the load of the tailings auger. Remote monitoring. It's the option which all Torum's models are equipped with. For this, you install the antenna, GPS and GSM modules, connect them with cables. On the side of the module, there are slots for an SD card and a SIM card. The SIM card is necessary for the data transfer, and the SD card is necessary for storing the data when there is no satellite connection. The antenna, the SD card and the SIM card must be sealed. For this, the kit contains the special sealing stickers. After this, you have to transfer the number and the system number of the device, which is used for remote monitoring. This data is transferred to the plant. As an example, you see the antenna installed on the Torum. You install it on the right, on the frame for fitting mirrors. And this type of antenna installation is incorrect. If you install the antenna yourself, never put the cables inside through the weather strip. Do not press the cables with the weather strip, and do not make a coil of the rest of the cable on the holder. You can put the cables inside through the special holes in the roof, and then connect them to the display. The individual device number can be found on the display in the firmware update settings. Here's the number that you have to send to the plant. Also, you have to check if the firmware of the remote monitoring system is updated. And the last additional option, it's actually an additional function to the previous option. This additional function allows you not only to see the location of the harvester, but also monitor its fuel level. You can control the fuel consumption, the number of tank refills, and other parameters, and you can see all of that in the form of graphs. For this you install the sensor Escort TD500. It is calibrated to the tank volume. For this calibration, a special user manual is available. After calibrating, you connect it to the system, and from it, there is a standard system indicator that shows how much fuel you've got in the tank right now. This data is transferred to the server, and the user is able to control it using his mobile device, a laptop or a desktop. The hydraulic system of the harvester. The hydraulic system of the harvester consists of independent subsystems, such as the main hydraulic system, hydraulic systems of the volumetric drive of the chassis, volumetric hydraulic steering system, hydraulic systems of low-pressure working bodies. There is also a hydro system of net rotation. Here are the main specifications. The oil type. It has been mentioned in the maintenance videos. The volume is 133 liters, including the hydro tank, which is 50 liters. The main pressure specifications. The main hydro system 160 bar, low pressure system is 28 bar, and steering system is 160. In the drive axle hydro system 420 and rotor drive 420. Hydrostatic transmission produced by Sauer Danfoss. Hydro tank and its components. In the top left part, there is a filter housing with a filtering element. It's the drainage line. All the drainage goes through the filtering element, and when it's cleaned, it goes into the tank. Here there's also a bypass valve. It is equipped with a signaling sensor, which goes off in case of the filter clogging. It may happen in two cases: when the filter is actually clogged, or when the oil is not heated enough. It has got high viscosity level, and it bypasses the oil filter. Then goes the minimum oil level sensor. It notifies the driver that the oil level in the tank is low. On the right there is a breather that provides the atmosphere connection. Inspection window that helps us to control the current level of oil. Below you can see oil intake tubes. Using special hoses, you connect the pumps, and this way the oil is pumped out of the hydro tank. On the lowest level, there is an oil intake for the steering hydro system. It is located below, because the steering hydro system is considered to be the most important one in the harvester. In the middle, there is an oil drain hose. It's got a special pipe that goes to a valve. It is used for changing oil. Below, there is an emergency oil temperature sensor in the hydro tank. Inside the tank, we have got special plates. They're installed to prevent the oil foaming. The main hydraulic system. It contains the axial piston pump, located on the engine power reduction gear. You can see it in the first position on the left side of the harvester. Distributors. This distributor is located under the left entry platform. It is used to control the movement of the reel. forward, backwards, up and down. This hydro block also controls the reverse function. This diagram shows the functions. The next hydro unit is the unit located behind the grain tank on the left. You can see that the back, on the side of the motor unit, it has 3 sections. It has such functions as folding and unfolding of the auger and activation of the vibration agitator. If you have bought the harvester with Bandioli, the distributor will have 4 sections. The distributor will contain an additional section for the emergency rotor start. It provides special control of the rotor drive hydro cylinders. The next hydro unit, which is located almost at the same place but on the right, under the entry platform, this hydro unit is responsible for the real rotation speed. The next hydro unit controls the fan RPM. The unit is located near the right front wheel. Here you see the hydro unit itself and hydro motor. The distinct feature of this unit is the presence of the manual adjustment tool that uses an electric magnet. In case of the coil failure, because of the short circuit, cable break, or any other problem, you can use the manual adjustment option. The manual adjustment is done using this small handle. Pay close attention to the fact. As soon as you start turning this handle, the fan will rotate as well, and the rotation will happen no matter if the thresher is on or not. The next hydro unit is located on the left, at the end of the platform. This hydro unit is responsible for raising and lowering the header, and also LS valve. Here you see the LS valve, and here 2 valves for raising and lowering. This handle must be turned all the way out before calibrating the field copying system. This handle must be turned all the way out or counterclockwise. To do this, unscrew the lock nut, screw the handle all the way out, and then fix it with the lock nut until hard stop. Then goes the undercarriage hydraulic system. It contains the pump on the power reduction gear, and hydro motor located on the gearbox. Steering hydraulic system includes the flow pump. You can find it under the cab, and it is connected to the steering column. And 2 rotary gear pumps installed on the power reduction gear on the side of the motor unit. Low pressure hydraulic system contains the similar pump, because the replenishment pump used in the low pressure hydraulic system is a part of the hydrostatic transmission pump. That's why you see this pump and the 5-section distributor. It is located behind the grain tank on the left of the rotor reduction gear, not far from the main hydro system distributor. The unit has got 5 sections. The first one activates the unloading, the other 2 switch between the ranges, and the other 2 cleaning drive coupling activation and rotor drive coupling activation. Torum 785 has got 6 sections. There is one more section below which activates the hydro coupling of the feeder house. Because this harvester has got not an electric, but a hydro coupling. In the bottom part of the distributor, there is a rubber cap. It is located on the distributors with 5 or 6 sections. In fact, it is a button that you can press to release the residues of the pressure. Because the low pressure hydraulic system has got a hydro battery. If you have recently switched on the harvester, the hydro battery remains charged for a long time. So before conducting any manipulations in the hydraulic system, press this button and hold for a second or 2 to release the pressure. If you have bought the harvester with a Bondioli reduction gear, you will find there a 3-section distributor, because this reduction gear does not have a range selector. So this means -2 sections. The rest of the sections are similar. Unloading activation, the main counter drive, and rotor drive coupling activation. The low pressure hydraulic system has got one more component: the parking brake control.